All right, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting of the October 2025 BZA to order. I want to welcome everybody. I want to make sure that everybody did get signed in out front. And this meeting is being recorded. And with that, we'll go ahead and ask Retha to go ahead and make a roll call.
Chris Thomas.
Here.
Jeff Martin.
Here.
Bill Rowe is absent. David Rowe.
Here.
And Susan Ralston is also absent. City Attorney Kim Schaub.
Here.
Myself, Director Retha Hicks, and planner staff Grace Essman is here. Okay, we do have a quorum, sir.
All right, we wanted to make an announcement and let everybody know we are 2 members short. So if anybody has any questions or wants to table until a later date, because it will have, all the votes will have to fall on just the 3 of us.
And they all have to be an affirmative for it to pass.
So if anybody wants to table anything until a later date, we can do that. But if not, we can go ahead and proceed.
Does anybody have any concerns with the 3 votes? Okay.
All right. So we'll go ahead and, has everybody gone ahead and reviewed the minutes for, it would have been the July 25.
You're still missing September. No judgment, please.
So if everybody's gone, reviewed them, I'll ask for a motion on those for approval.
I'll motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Done. All right. So, is there any old business from last month?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to new business and start out with Retha.
All right, our first case on the agenda is a project named 2025 BZA 10001 Development Standard Variance for Jeff and Darlene Brady. The applicant was Meyer Building, Brady Marinehart. Location 2387 West, 100 North. This is in the ETJ. The section, so he is asking for 2 variances, section 18.164030 accessory structure standards for the location, as well as section 18.36040 development standards front yard setback. He is zoned estate residential. Applicable code is Title 18 Unified Development Ordinance, Indiana Code BZA 3674 series. Today is the hearing date. Legal notices appeared in the Herald Republican on October 17th with 8 property owners within 300 feet of the project were sent notice on October 16th. This is not within a floodplain. The applicant is requesting a development standards variance to construct an accessory structure in a front yard due to the I told you that I was not going to be good. Due to the topography, let's scroll down here, of the property, it is not feasible to place a structure in the side or rear yard as required by the City of Angola's estate residential development standards. To conserve as many trees as possible, the applicant is requesting a development standard variance for front yard setback. The property is in Watchers Ridge subdivision and has platted building line of 65 feet. The request is to allow 35 feet. So it's 2 separate variances. Again, one for the front yard to place an accessory structure in the front yard, and then one for a setback variance. As you see on the screen and then on your paper in front of you is the building elevations for the accessory structure. And you know what, we'll have to ask, I don't know why, is it on here later where the size of it? I don't think I should have added that, but we'll ask the builder when they get there. So you can see in that small picture, and then you can see on your screen, the lines all indicate just the way the topography is on that lot. Just kind of straight uphill, has a few drops there. Development standard variance, section 18.164.030 accessory structure standards. Location, storage base, and recreation base accessory structures shall only be allowed in side and rear yards. request is to allow it in the front yard. The second one is 1836-040, estate residential development standards, minimum front yard setback. So in the estate residential, and this tells you on here, is 100 feet for the primary and accessory. The property is on a recorded plat that has a building line of 65 feet. And I do, when I finish the staff report, that I can show you that original plat as well. The applicant is requesting a front yard setback of 35 feet. So you can also see on the screen and then on the paper in front of you, this is the view, West 100 North facing south. So this is looking up toward his house. You can't see it with all of the trees, but his house is back behind the trees. You'll also see a view. And this one is from 100 North facing southeast. And you can see a little bit, there's like I think that's a bee box.
Yes, beehive.
A bee box in here, kind of where, and he can tell you more where I think that accessory structure is going to go. And then we have another view from West 100 North facing east. So this is, if you were kind of just past his property line and looking east, this is what you would see. Again, you don't see his house from the road. The contextual zoning and land use, the property is zoned as state residential and surrounding land use includes, to the north is ag, to the east is also estate residential and ag, to the south is estate residential and ag, and then to the west is R1 low density single family residential and ER estate residential. We did not receive any input from the public, and our conclusion, staff acknowledges the difficult topography and appreciates the conservation effort to save trees. If the variance requests are approved, staff would like to emphasize code 18.160-300, which talks about outdoor storage standards. Prohibited, A is prohibited, the outdoor storage of equipment, products, supplies, materials, machinery, building materials, waste or scrap, pallets, and similar materials shall not be permitted. And I put that in there, board, because initially I was thinking, should we make conditions that there could be no outdoor storage? But the reality is it's already a code in our UDO that none of that stuff can be stored outside. So if that were to become an issue, that can be managed through our code enforcement. And then I do have, let me just put my glasses on so I can actually see that far. I do have the original plat up on the screen, and you guys can see it behind you and you can see it on the other one, but this shows you that 65-foot building line setback is how these are platted. Shows you a little bit of the topography. It's not a great view. Mr. Brady, they did amend the plat a while ago and combine two lots. So this is the amended plat, also still showing the topography, but you can kind of see a better visual of where his house is up here. This is that flat area. And then I also have it on this screen if you're at all curious. This is, over here is the beacon view on this one, and I can pull it over there if you want. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, I just got a question already.
So yes, if you have questions for staff.
Yeah, just, so when the 35, is it more because of this line or because of the actual right of way of the road? Is it that they need the 35? Do we know?
So if you look on Beacon here, it's because, and he can speak a little bit more, it's just really because this starts to incline right here, and so this is really the only flat area, so that's why they're asking for that. The building line setback, you know, was just approved when the primary plat was submitted. I can't remember what year that was. It's probably on the bottom there, but his is really, I think the neighbor to the east is also that way, kind of straight uphill, but I mean, he probably has some area down below where he could clear out trees. If you're looking on this one, some more trees, he's just trying to conserve the trees.
I get that. I just was
But-
seeing if there's just,
Yeah.
as far as car travel and safe and, but the right of way of the road's pretty wide too. So
It really is,
that
and
comes
I-
up there a long way. Do we know what that is?
Yeah, I did kind of look, and my conclusion, there is a small storage here, and then I looked, and it was kind of in line with this one
Okay.
over here
That's
as
fine.
well, so I did notice that, but, no, the right of way, I can highlight that on here, let me see. Now you're gonna make me turn around and do weird stuff, Dave, I'm gonna be in your zone, sorry.
It's pretty much.
So pretty much the same as this
35 feet.
property line,
35
yeah.
feet back on the yellow from the line.
Yeah, it looks like it, cause it's. So yeah, 50-foot right away, which is typical for county, and then if you look at 35 on this,
Oh, yeah, it does get back there. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So that's,
Yeah, it was just hard to picture how far that was. And you look
Yeah.
at topo, because topo doesn't take the trees into account.
no, it is hard, and yeah.
Okay.
Is there any other questions for staff before?
See. At this time, we'll go ahead and have a petitioner go ahead and step forward and state your name, address, and kind of give us a breakdown.
Braden Reinhardt with Meyer Building, 2570 North Main in Craigville. So what we're trying to do for Jeff is a 40 wide by 64 long building, 12-foot sidewall height. And as you mentioned, that's really the only flat spot on his property that we don't have to remove a lot of trees. So we are trying to keep it as far south on the property as we can up against there. Directly south of where the building's gonna go, there is a natural swale that kind of runs through there. So we're trying not to mess with that. And then, the only other spot is behind his house, but that's where septic system's at, so that's not a viable option either. Yeah, we're a little bit limited on where we can go with it without disturbing a bunch of trees.
And I will say, just, Mr. Brady first came in my office, it's probably been a year ago.
Yeah, it's
when
been
we
a while.
first had a conversation, him and his wife. So I know that you were looking into all other possibilities. We discovered where your septic was and so on. But again, that is not, I did not give a recommendation on this because it's completely up to the board. But I know that he's done his due diligence, and I'm assuming you as a builder have done yours on
Yeah,
figuring
I
out.
scoured that lot trying to find another spot, and that's just, we're kind of limited there, and that's the only spot we could come up with that made sense. He's currently storing his boat outside there now. You can see some of that from the pictures, compact tractor attachments. So the idea of the building is to have a place that he can store that inside and be able to work on that stuff as he needs to.
Staff got any questions?
No.
Obviously, no public input. Any
There was
public
no
input?
public input, nope. You can open the public hearing.
I'll say
just to
we'll-
sure.
Make sure that we open that to public input. Since we'll go ahead and move on.
So we do have two separate findings. Are you guys all comfortable starting the findings? Yeah. Okay. All right. So this first one will be for the location, the front yard location of the accessory structure. The approval of the variance will or will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
Will not.
Will not. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, as the accessory structure will not impact line of sight or cause distraction for passing motorists. Agree or disagree? The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will or will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner.
Will not.
The use and value will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner, as the accessory structure is to be storage based only and lines up with similar structures to the west. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
The strict applications of the terms of the ordinance will or will not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
Will.
It will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property as the topography of the property appears to make this location the only practical location for the accessory structure to be located on the parcel. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
And do I have a motion for the location?
So that's the second of the two, right?
That's the first of the two. So the being in the front yard is the first, and then
Oh, yeah, the
the
location.
setback will be the second. So this is to be in the front yard.
Here you
I'll approve.
go.
A motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, second.
Okay. And we will do the findings for the setback. So this is for 35-foot setback. What?
We vote.
To vote.
Oh. No?
I missed it last time.
All
Don't
in
feel bad.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay. So this is for the front yard setback. The approval of the variance will or will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
Well, no.
The approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, as the accessory structure will not impact the line of sight or cause distraction for passing motorists. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will or will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. It will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner, as the accessory structure is to be storage-based only and lines up with similar structures to the west. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
The strict application of the terms of the ordinance will or will not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
Will.
It will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property, as the topography of the property appears to make this location the only practical location for the accessory structure to be located without clearing a substantial number of trees. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
I'll make a motion that we accept the variance for the setback and building lines.
Go ahead and second it.
All those in favor?
Say
Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Okay, so your variance has passed, sir. Grace will send a final determination letter to you, and then, I don't know, has he turned in? Not yet, okay. So she'll tell you your next steps in that letter, just getting your application turned in for your permits.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and move on to the next case, the BZA 100002.
Thank you. Thank you for not making me read that number. Let me get my next staff report up here. And also maneuver if you guys want me to the bank. Oh. Okay, I'm good. That brought me right there. Okay. Application type development standard variance. Owner is Farmers State Bank. Applicant is Clear Lake Electric, Adam Bressler. Location is 1800 North Wayne Street. Section 18.88040, commercial C1 standards, side yard setback. Current zoning and overlay district, C1, small to medium general commercial. Applicable title 18, Unified Development Ordinance, Indiana Code, Board of Zoning Appeals 3674 series. Today's hearing date, October 27th. Legal notice of the public hearing appeared in the Herald Republican on October 17th. 9 property owners within 300 feet of the project were sent notice on October 16th. This is not within a floodplain, and it is in our city limits. Farmers State Bank is installing a generator for emergency use. The generator will be fueled by NIPSCO's natural gas. NIPSCO is requesting that the generator be located as close to the existing meter as possible to fit the generator near the existing meter. A side yard variance is being requested. Sorry, I read that kind of weird. So If you guys look at these pictures here, you'll see that they have kind of a landscaped area, and they can talk more about this, that already has an electric box or something there. Had they been able to put this just inside that existing, I probably wouldn't have even asked for a variance because that's already there. But because they have to pour a new concrete pad, and this one is quite a bit bigger than that, so that's why we determined that the variance was needed. The generator is approximately 10 foot long, 3.5 feet wide, and 5.8 feet tall. It will sit on a concrete pad that will be slightly larger than the base. Section 18.88040 C1 standards. Minimum side yard setback is 20 feet for primary and accessory. They were requesting a 12-foot setback. And here's some site photos. So this is looking northwest. You see the existing box, so this will be next to it there. Here's some others at Farmer State Bank from the rear facing west. This is from the view of the Burger King lot. Kind of hard to see, but the existing box is there, so this will be sitting over here. And then the view from the lot facing southeast there. The property is zone C1, small to medium commercial. Surrounding land use would include to the north, small to medium, to the east, high density multifamily residential and institutional. To the south, high density multifamily residential and C1 medium commercial. To the west, C2 medium to large commercial and C1 small to medium commercial. There was also no public input received for this case. In conclusion, staff recommends approval of the variance request in the event of an extended power outage. Maintaining their network and services is vital to the bank, and the community will benefit greatly from being able to access their funds at Farmer State Bank ATM, regardless of whether they bank there or not. And that is all we have.
Okay. This time we'll go ahead and ask our petitioner to go ahead and step forward and state your name, address, kind of give us a rundown.
Hi there, my name's Adam Bressler. I'm with Clear Lake Electric. I'm here on behalf of Farmer State Bank to request a setback variance for the bank to install a generator. The generator sizes were listed, approximate dimensions of the pad. We're looking to place that up by the existing electrical transformer that sits out there. That's the green box in the photos. Trying to keep that equipment setting next to each other. And then the gas service will be placed off the end of the generator pad, kind of as shown in that example photo. And then from that point, we can intercept and connect to the existing service entrance that goes into the bank. So electrical rework will be minimal at that location, as well as gas service at that location will be minimal impact to the site.
Adam, what's the size difference between this existing box and the new one?
As far as like
The height?
existing transformer height,
Yeah.
it's probably 3.5 to 4 feet or so.
Okay,
So probably something about this tall, podium height.
okay.
And then the generator is gonna be about 6 foot tall,
So it's gonna be quite a bit taller.
height wise, yeah. And all dimensions wise.
You said all dimensions, how wide is it gonna be?
So width wise, the pad itself is gonna be approximately 4.5 feet wide. So I guess generator dimensions 10 foot by 3.5 feet. 10 foot long,
Okay.
3.5 feet wide, 6 feet tall.
So according to the picture on there to help me get a visual on it,
Sorry.
how does it compare to the existing?
You want me to go kind of show you where I think it's gonna be at, like height wise?
Is this the picture that you're talking about,
Yeah,
Dave?
yeah.
It'll be about,
Compared to,
Zoom in on that too.
Oh yeah, wait, on this one?
Yep. At the top where it says 150.
Oh, I can see.
Yeah.
I do apologize, I'm just trying to get a visual on it, it just seems,
so the top, this meter right here, this electrical meter socket is probably 5 feet. So the top of this is probably gonna be closer to 6 feet. So I mean, I expect the generator not to be much taller than this height here.
Do we have any standards for when we require protection pole
I
in
was,
parking areas?
Like
and that?
ballard.
Yeah, bollards, yeah.
I was
When do we,
wondering
and
about
you got a
that.
gas line in there, so.
right next to a transformer.
Right next to a transformer, and you got no bollards.
You can, so I believe this is Dwayne from Farmer State. You guys can ask maybe if they would consider,
Well, I mean, it just seems sensible, but
Yes, we would consider doing that, and that would be something that we would probably install.
you got that going on there, so.
Yeah, that's, I was,
That's
I
probably
was
a good
thinking the
idea.
same thing.
I can look and see if there's standards on that, Adam, but if you guys are willing to consider that,
we
I
would-
think
yeah,
that
I
makes
would think
sense
that'd be
anyway,
smart,
but.
Yeah. Just a natural.
I mean,
flow
there's
of
nothing there
traffic.
currently for the transfer.
No, I know, but now you introduce gas to
That's
this
correct.
equation. so-
Yeah. And it's like kind of that natural flow of traffic going around there
Yep,
too.
for sure.
Yeah.
I will tell you guys that when they first came in, the request was gonna be a bit different. They, NIPSCO was charging an astronomical amount for this natural gas line. So they were going to ask for an above-ground tank,
Oh, geez.
which was gonna go over here, which is allowed in C2, but not in C1.
They're gonna
So,
propane it?
yeah, because of the cost was
No, we
a
may,
lot, wasn't it, like ridiculous?
we may see a lot better.
Yeah, so NIPSCO then agreed, I know you guys worked out a deal in order to upgrade the gas at a more cost effective.
Yes.
And so that's why they are able to do it this way, which I kind of thought as well as if once there's a propane tank above ground, it's gonna start, but you know, they were able to work out the deal, so we're very happy about that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Staff got any more questions? No. All right, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing part of it.
Thank you.
No public input?
Dwayne, did you have anything that you wanted to add, or you? Okay,
Covered everything.
okay, good. Okay,
All right, we'll go ahead and close the public input part of it then.
We make that motion with an exception, or do we just?
with the condition on the
with a condition?
ballards, that's up to you guys.
Or do we need to do research on that first?
I
to
can
if
look and
that's the
see,
proper-
I don't believe we have anything specific on the ballards, but I can definitely look. If you would like to make that a condition, that's completely up to the board. How you guys feel about that?
I think I would if they're egregious, if they agree to it.
Okay, I mean, that's,
We do still need the findings, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was jumping, I was just asking.
yeah, thank you, Grace, yeah. Yeah, if you feel strongly about that, that's completely up to you guys. When you're ready, I can go through findings.
All right, we'll go ahead and go on
Okay.
the findings.
The approval of the variance will or will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community.
Will not.
The variance will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, as the generator will sit in line with the current awning columns and landscaping.
Agree.
Agreed?
Agree.
And I was going to add, and with the transformer. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will or will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner.
Will not.
It will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner, as the location of the generator will not disrupt any functionalities of the nearby businesses and will be in line with the existing power box and landscape. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
The strict application of the terms of the ordinance will or will not result in practical difficulties in the use of the property.
It would.
It will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property, as this location was chosen by the utility company as a preferred location for the generator, and any alternative locations would disrupt more of the bank's property and be unsightly. Agree or disagree?
Agreed. Agreed.
Okay, so we will ask for a motion.
I will make a motion that we accept the variance with the condition that the bollards are placed for safety reasons.
accept the variance request with condition that the ballards placed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, are you guys okay with that?
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Guys, thanks.
And same for you guys, Grace will send out the letter, go through the next steps for permitting.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much for coming in, we appreciate it.
So, any news, Retha, or anything?
No, today, I think today was our deadline. We usually give it a day or two just to make sure that we didn't miss any conversations or anything for the November meeting. But so far, we don't think we have anything. We've gone through as much as we can, so.
On Friday, I'll either send an agenda or cancellation notice to you guys, so that way you know.
Great.
Sounds good. Got a motion to adjourn?
I'll give you a motion.
Do I have a second?
Yeah.